Hey there, welcome back. In this episode, we'll be focusing on getting some Barrows upgrades. There are a lot of them to choose from as there are 24 Barrows items in total, but realistically, we don't need to get all of them. Just a lot of them. Alright, let's see what we get. Ooh, Torag's plate legs. Beauty. Beauty. That's awesome. At only 25 kill count of the chest, we've managed to get these items. Pretty impressive. What do we get? Can we get back-to-back Barrows loot? That'd be awesome. Oh yes. Oh, you know. You know. Getting back-to-back Barrows items and 5 unique items within 26 KC is pretty ridiculous. Next to Carol, Aram still proves to be the most challenging Barrows brother for us. Since we only have snakeskin armor, we really don't have too high of a magic defense bonus. On the plus side, the steel knives tear right through Aram, so it's kind of an even fight. After finishing off the final Barrows boss for this chest, we can see that our luck does continue.
3 in a row? Are you kidding me?
27 KC, 6 uniques, 3 of them back to back. I'm honestly shocked by the RNG we've had so far.
Ooh, elite clue, RM staff. Guys, that's sweet.
I'm still happy to get a drop, but it's probably the least useful item for me. We also got an elite clue, although one that we're not really able to complete. If we get lucky enough, technically we could get Bando's boots as a 1 in a million drop from a Bandosian guard. The dream would be combining it with a black tourmaline core from Grotesque Guardians.
We got Torag's hammers. Ah! Holy cow, guys. That's amazing. We gotta get out of here. I love Torag's hammers. I hate being the pessimist here, but isn't that the worst item? No.
I not so jokingly have a real soft spot for Torag's hammers. They're really underpowered and terrible, but they're so cool looking and I have to use them. Another thing I need to do is increase my woodcutting and firemaking levels to the point where I can cut down yew trees and use the pyre logs in the Shades of Morton minigame. There are still quite a few upgrades I can get from this minigame, including an Amulet of Power, a Rune Chain Body, and an Amulet of Magic. Furthermore, as we increase our Barrows armory, we'll be able to use an Amulet of the Damned to give a unique set effect to each set. In order to achieve all of this, we'll need 65 firemaking. Unfortunately for us, we can only access regular logs until yew trees, so this is probably the best bet we've got. There are quite a few dead trees in Morton, so it's really not that much to complain about. Since firemaking's trained much more quickly than woodcutting, we can spend the next 2 woodcutting levels cutting down hollow trees around the swamp. These trees only give bark, and we're not able to burn them for firemaking experience. However, we can burn the yew logs, which we're able to access at 60 woodcutting. It's honestly debatable whether this is better than cutting down the regular logs in Morton in terms of experience per hour, but this is more AFK friendly, and I'd rather take this as a nice change of pace. Plus, there's a higher chance of getting a pet. Once we hit 65 firemaking, we're ready to continue with Shades of Morton. To create yew pyre logs, you need to use an entire bottle of sacred oil. So not only do you have to cut down the slowly cut yew trees, you also need to gather a lot more olive oil and turn it into sacred oil. Burning this next tier of pyre logs lets us cremate Asin remains, providing us with either silver or black keys. We're really aiming for the silver keys as they have more upgrades in store for us than the black keys do, although we still do need to get an Amulet of Magic from black keys. The drops you receive from this minigame are totally random and there are a lot of useless ones, but when you do get a good drop, it feels really good. This Rune Chain Body is our best in slot non-degradable torso piece for the entirety of the account. As good as it is to get that, getting Amulets of the Damned is even more important, since they provide us with equivalent stat bonuses to an Amulet of Glory, as well as unique set effects for the Barrows pieces. The issue here is that they degrade, so we'll need to collect a lot of them. Amulet of Power is a perfect alternative for an Amulet of Glory. We don't quite have the crafting level needed to make one yet, and we certainly don't have the Dragonstone, so this will do nicely. It's cool to see, despite the age of this minigame, that it's still being played. Although it may seem that the upgrades we got were really easy to obtain, we had to use about 200 keys to do so, which is no minor feat. As you can see, most of the black key loot is pretty useless, ranging from steel to mithril items, but occasionally you'll get something like this. This is our best in slot non-degradable necklace for magic until we get a glory. Once again, that's a far ways away, so I'm happy to take it right now. Since we're in the area, I may as well show off our herblore training method. Creating blemish oil, the item needed for the hero's quest, provides us with the best XP per Herolander in the game, excluding combat potions, which require us to use a goat horn as the secondary ingredient. I don't think there's a way for us to get this, so we'll take the 4 XP loss per Herolander. As you might have noticed, it's a pretty involved task, but it's probably worth doing, as Herolanders aren't super common for us to come by. Herblore is probably one of our most challenging skills to train. Now we set our sights on getting 70 defense to be able to equip some of the Barrows items we've acquired. Many of the Slayer tasks we get tend to be quite awful. This is a good example of that. For us to kill hobgoblins, we have to go underneath the Canifus pub. These poison spiders are a big issue.
I'll never be able to have them not be aggressive. Level 64, it's brutal.
It's important that we always remember to bring along our anti-poison potions, or we'll tear through our food supply from poison damage. These spiders are always aggressive, so it proves to make doing this task quite the challenge. Sometimes I'll get lucky and a viewer will help me out with the task. They'll kill off the poison spiders in the area and allow me to focus on the hobgoblins uncontested. This turns one of my worst Slayer tasks into one of the better ones, as hobgoblins quite often drop limpwort roots, used in strength potions. As you might imagine, clue scrolls are difficult for us to complete, but sometimes we get really lucky and get a step that we can actually do. This clue scroll here is one of those cases. It's going to take us to the Lumbered Swamp and require us to equip very menial items. As great as it sounds, it's quite difficult to get some clue scrolls that have multiple good steps in a row. Even though this one step is doable, it doesn't guarantee that the subsequent ones are. In fact, it's unlikely that they will be. I'm aware that clue juggling methods exist and I know how to do it. I'm not sure I really need to though, as there aren't too many items that I really require. Ranger boots would be great, but I'm willing to take the DPS loss for the time investment needed. There are some useful rewards though, like dragonhide pieces that I might consider going for in the future. For the time being, there's still a ton of content for us to get to, and I'd like to keep progressing on the account instead of stalemating at clue scrolls. We can't do this one, so let's drop it and move on. Zombie tasks are always great, and I'm glad to hit 70 defense in Tarn's Lair. It really feels like home. With base 70 melee stats, the account is really coming together nicely. Being able to equip Barrows items is a pretty big milestone for most accounts, but for this one it's huge. This defense level serves as a pseudo unlock for bossing content on the account, namely grotesque guardians in the not so distant future. I think it would be an issue to try to kill them without using Barrows gear, so it's pretty essential. I don't even want to think about doing Zulrah without it. Lucky for me, I no longer have to. We've achieved it. I may not have a Barrows torso yet, but it kind of makes it a little humorous. We look like the ultimate Chad right now, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. Many of the Barrows armor sets are among my favorite in the game, and I'm glad to finally don them. As if our luck wasn't good enough already, by 59 KC we get yet another Barrows piece, Aram's robe skirt, an essential one for future Zulrah content. By getting this piece, we've managed to acquire 9 unique items from 59 kills of the chest. At a roughly 1 in 17 chance of getting any unique from a Barrows chest, I will take our luck. Not to mention we haven't even hit a duplicate yet. But with this piece comes the ending of the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.